On.
Okay, let's talk about the lift and how it pertains to touch and go casting. And the main thing I try to do with the lift is get the fly. I try to get the fly in a position higher in the water column and where it's not sunk, that I can get it out of the water clean when I make my sweep. Okay, so you might have to, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I think I've never seen one way of doing a lift that made a huge difference in just a good fishing cast. I've seen lifts done from here. You can lift here, you can lift high. You might have to lift high if you got a sink tip on you. It might have to be ugly. You might have to lift high and then crash it down and cast. So you can make an ugly lift. You can make a shotgun lift. It's very valuable to go like this, lift, and then when you sweep, you have a whole bunch of room to move your bottom hand. So if you're going to do a change of direction, you can lift towards the target and then push with your bottom hand and rotate your body. Okay, so for a single spey, if we're going to lift like that, we want to do a shotgun lift. We can lift high and then push and twist our body. You want to be careful you don't pull back too much with the top hand, but lift. It's your body rotation and bottom hand that gets you the nice long stroke in the sweep. You can do a scandy lift. Scandy lift, you get high and then out and around, cast like that, okay? So with the scandy lift, you can start here and then stir the pot out, around, and back, and cast. So that's 3 different ways to do it. You can lift like this if you want. Towards the target, lift, and then rotate and push. You can lift really low if you want, just enough to get control of the fly so you can sweep, if you like a slow sweep. So there's just so many different ways to lift. You can lift like some of those Japanese competition casters, some real hand height. If you use your imagination and you just remember, here, I'll show you a lift that won't work. Okay, a lift with a lot of slack in it. Now my fly is sunk. Now if I try to lift, well, usually what happens if you try to lift when you got a bunch of slack in your line and your fly is sunk, you know, and then you try to lift, and then that happens. It's a nice, slow, smooth lift. Anyway, you want a smooth lift, okay? Lift, rotate, cast. So, and like for a snake roll, you could, okay?
You're hung up.
So for a snake roll, you could theoretically do one without the lift, just peel up and cast, but you might have better luck lifting with your hands out to the side, and we're going to lift at this angle about, and then pull with our bottom hand, push with the top, and cast. The idea is you want to get it up in the water column so when you do cast, you don't get a bunch of resistance when you're making your snake roll. So many casting, you want to lift up, get it out of the water to set your anchor. And you don't ever want to drag it in place. Lift, push with her bottom, pull with her top. Okay? So if I wanted to make a cast and it didn't have to be pretty, I could lift really high and still get it out. There's a million different ways to lift, but the best lift is one that's smooth and gets your body and your rod tip and the fly and your line into position to make a clean escape from the water and a forward cast. So the biggest problem I see with guys with the lift is they're overthinking it. You know, they're going, you know, and it really doesn't matter. You can do it any way you want. Don't overthink it. Just do what is natural for you, and it gets you in the position to make the next part of the cast, okay? So a whole bunch of different ways you can do it. Now if you're a comp caster, you gotta be really fussy with your lift, and that's when it's really critical. If you wanna get furthest cast you can, then you gotta go really smooth, but you can't get out of position. You gotta start slow and smooth and be in this position for the forward cast, somewhere between the lift and the sweep. So the lift can be the most important part, but for a regular fishing cast, it is really nothing. It's nothing you need to overthink and fret about. It's just a way to get control of your fly, the fly up in the water column, so you can pluck it out of the water on the sweep and make a good snake roll or single spey or skagit cast. That was good.